Speaker, Thursday's budget revealed the truth behind this government's so-called investment in post-secondary education. Not only does the budget cut $70 million from PSE this year and $1.5 billion by 2028-29, it also shows that $385 million was left unspent last year. While 10,000 college workers were laid off, student services were reduced, and at least 700 programs were cancelled. Speaker, how can this Premier justify cutting funding and leaving money on the table while our post-secondary system was crumbling around us?
As that member knows, the federal government made many changes to the international student allocations, which our government stepped up with historic funding, Speaker, $6.4 billion. I know they will never come out of the lips of the opposition, but $6.4 billion is a historic funding amount for not only Ontario, but for Canada, Speaker. Part of that is $3.3 billion for high-priority programs that are going to ensure that our economy keeps growing the way it wants to go. But I won't take any lessons from the opposition about how to run an economy, Speaker. There's $1.7 billion for 70,000 newly funded seats to ensure that we have access for our post-secondary learners. That's on top of the 20,000 seats we funded with Budget 2025 and the $750 million investment into STEM, Speaker. We also have $1.1 billion to increase student funding right across the whole board, Speaker, and another $284 million for small, northern, rural and French institutions, because we understand the economics of having post-secondary in smaller communities is a little bit more expensive.
Speaker, the numbers don't lie. A cut to PSE funding is not an investment, and the fallout is being felt across this province. Since this government's historic funding announcement, we have seen more program closures, more job cuts at Algonquin, Fanshawe. George Brown and Humber just issued mass layoff notices. What's worse, Speaker, it is students from low and moderate income families who will be hurt the most, as money is moved out of OSAP grants to pay for any increases in operating. This government's shell game will drive down domestic enrollment in whatever in-demand or high-priority programs are left. Speaker, why is this government denying Ontario students the post-secondary opportunities they deserve and our economy depends on?
Speaker, the only shell game I can see is the opposition leader trying to hang on to her job when the deputy leader is going over to the Liberal Party, Speaker. But Speaker, that $6.4 billion investment is stabilizing the sector. We understand that the sector has been destabilized because of the federal government's decisions. I hear the member from Waterloo yelling, "Do better." Let's talk about the time when the Ray government was around. I know that's a long time ago and our students weren't even alive at that point, but the reality is tuition went up 3 times the rate of inflation under a short amount of time of the Ray government. If you were in power or the Liberals were in power, inflation would be almost $15,000 right now. So let's not talk about accessibility or affordability, because you are the government that inflated tuition to in rates that are not even acceptable for everyone.